Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday night two-point conversion, the best way to end the football week just before we really end the football week with Monday Night Football. Doubleheader, so with an extra game, we also brought on another extra person. I guess now going to be a recurring guest, basically co-host, Jamie Perogue. Welcome back, Jamie.
Hey, thanks for having me. Just give me a second. My favorite podcast started, so I just got to pull it up real quick. There we go.
Wait, we're not your favorite podcast?
I think he's joking. I feel like we're about to see a comment come up in the chat. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Gee, there's Jamie Perogue. Hello, Jamie. Oh,
hey,
look, there's Jamie
thanks for having me.
Hello, Jamie.
Hey.
Hey, there's Jamie Perogue. Hello, Jamie. Okay, I'm going to stop that.
All right.
There's two games to talk about tonight, so we got to get to serious business now. But, yeah, Kyle Steinner here, as always, on the Going for Two Live network here, hosting alongside Gladys Louise Tyler. Gladys, how are you doing? You want me to just intro the rest of the show while you're chopping away on those props?
Yeah, that would be that would be awesome.
Gladys is doing well. The Steelers kicked butt, so even though she thought with some flabbergasted by the QB decision, they won, so it doesn't matter.
Because
Jamie says hi, Gladys. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey.
But yes, if you'd also like to interact with the chat and we'll answer questions or just be ridiculous like we're doing right now, feel free to join us on the Going for Two Live YouTube channel. So you can subscribe there. Appreciate that, liking the video and commenting and joining us and asking questions. But you can also find the stream on Twitch, on Facebook as well, and we'll see all your comments pop up. So interact with everyone who wants to. I would say crazy people, but I guess Gladys isn't crazy, so we can't count her on that. Yeah. Crazy busy right now with this parlay here.
Parlay.
Influenced by Jamie Perogue.
Alternate receptions and there we go. All alternate receptions and they're like, I think Derrick Henry was like minus 1,500, right? Derrick Henry's crazy. He's ridiculous. I love him. Hey, James, I don't see K. Dot. No. Oh, never mind.
All right. Well, K. Dot's available. But I guess, Gladys, while you're doing that, I'm just actually going to recap last week because I think collectively that was our best week we've had. We went 6 for 9 total. So,
what?
Yeah, really, really nice way to go there, guys. I went 3 for 3. So that's something none of us have done yet this year. So really, it was going higher. I went higher than 41.5. I went against what I normally do, just always pick the lowers. I actually ended up getting that one right. I don't think anyone else picked that. I can't remember if you did, Jamie. But one thing we did really well on, though, all three of us hit our props, Gladys, myself, and Dan. But Jamie, pretty sure like almost every prop you mentioned and brought up on the show hit. I think every prop Dan did on his Monday show also hit. So it was a good week for props, especially. But great week collectively for the group. As the
now we just got to move on to the next week and hit these ones.
Double your pleasure.
What did I go last week? What did I do?
You were 2 for 3. The only thing you got wrong was going lower than the 41.5.
And going lower is boring. I always like to go higher.
Well, it's funny.
If I think it's going to go lower, I just don't bet it.
I actually had a lot of success going lower on points last year. It was probably the thing I was strongest at. But yeah, I went against what I normally do and I also took the higher and it seemed to work. So yeah, Gladys, you got your prop correct. You also picked the Bills, so kudos there. Breece Hall got he got over 13.5 rushing.
Yeah, I didn't get his touchdown.
Like 18 times.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah, that was the one thing you missed on. You got all the yard stuff for him, but yeah, the touchdown wasn't there. Dan hit, in spite of the Bills winning and Josh Allen having success, I think he only threw for like 212 yards. So Dan hit the under on his lower on his prop of 228.5 passing yards for Josh Allen. And what did I do? I can't remember. Props. Oh yeah, Breece Hall, receiving yard. That's twice I've gone Breece Hall higher on receiving yards. He's done it both times. Way to go, Breece Hall. The Jets don't play on Monday night anymore, so I can't afford it. Will I go receiving yards higher on a running back? A lot this year already, 4 times through 6 weeks. Maybe spoiler, I'm not going that way this this time. I did consider it. I didn't love any of the lines though. It was like Justice Hill 18.5, Rashad White 12.5, Derrick Henry 5.5. It's like, oh my god, that's so low. Then you look, it's like, okay, yeah, he barely gets a catch a game though, so there's just as much chance he does actually hit that lower. So I steered away from running back receiving yards this week. So Gladys, would
Yes.
you like to just get into the games right away, or is there something you want to talk about, something you want to rant about?
My dislike for Aaron Rodgers. Nah, that's fine. We all know
And you beat him pretty badly, so good job.
that. Yeah, but we beat him with Russell Wilson. It was kind of bittersweet.
It doesn't even count.
Yeah,
Okay.
It doesn't count.
Hold on. We're talking about Monday night doubleheader. So we've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We also have the LA Chargers visiting the Arizona Coyotes, the Arizona Cardinals. Chargers Cardinals. They sound way too similar. But yeah, I guess just we'll talk about the games. General data. We've got the Baltimore Ravens favored by 3.5 points. Actually, it's funny. Last week was our first road favorite, and tonight both road teams are favored again. So yeah, Ravens 3.5 favorites, with the higher lower being 49.5. So before we get to our specific picks, do either of you have any general thoughts about this game?
Wait, what is it now? 47.5? It's dropped like 5 points.
49.5.
Oh, so
Okay,
it only dropped
so
a half a point.
I'm
No,
looking at
that's
something
one.
different. I'm seeing a 51
I'm seeing 51.5.
and the Ravens -4 for the spread.
Well, I think but because there's
Yeah, you're right.
also
Oh yeah, it's gone up. Yeah, I'm seeing
51.5 and 4.5 for Ravens.
Everything has stayed with the Chargers Cardinals. Okay, let me.
No, I mean we have to keep it to what we bet on. We bet with that. It's raised, but when we put our bets in, that's what it was, right? You see what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Okay.
So it wouldn't be fair to, especially to change.
So does that mean I get the Bijan Robinson receiving yard prop from a few weeks ago where it was 24.5 and then we raised it and then he just missed it?
No, because didn't you change? Didn't you switch out?
Well, but we changed it because the lines changed, right? Like if we're saying like
we didn't change it, you changed your. You changed what you.
I said 24.5, and
guys...
everyone told me it's 25. You gotta I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Gladys and I are still tied. Doesn't matter. Okay, so all right. As I was saying, Ravens. Okay. Yeah. General thoughts. Yeah. Who wants to go?
What were you saying, James?
So you guys already made your bets and have them written down. So we can compare those to the lines that moved, and also.
But Dan's not here.
True. Yeah. All right. Never mind.
Dan's in his bets in, right? Already?
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah. So Dan's not here, and it would be unfair if we got to change and he didn't.
I mean, unless he joins us in the chat. If you're there,
True.
Dan, let us know.
That's true.
But yeah. Okay. Well,
I want to know, Jimmy, did you cheer when Deshaun Watson went down?
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm sitting there, I'm laying on the couch. My daughter's sitting on the chair. And
How old's your daughter?
The game. And then all of a sudden, I'm like,
wait. How old is your daughter?
Yeah, she's 13.
Okay.
She's like, what happened? I'm like, Watson's down. She's like, why is it a good thing? And I was like, because the dude's a horrible person, not a good human being.
And apparently a horrible football player.
And a really bad football player. So yeah, I like those people that were cheering for him. Like, yeah, Deshaun Watson finally got cheered for.
Did they cheer when he went down?
Well, they cheered when he was getting carted off.
No.
And so the people that are like, "Oh, you guys are horrible," dude, shut up, dude. Like, do you think they cried?
That is what Watson did. Like what Watson is accused of doing is far worse than booing him.
Exactly. Like he got off easy. Do you really think people were sad when Ted Bundy got executed, or Jeffrey Dahmer got murdered in jail? No, they didn't cry. They like.
There's probably crazy groupies who cried.
There's this one guy that was on Facebook like, "Oh, I'm a Christian. I don't like you guys are horrible people for booing him." I'm like, "Oh, so you are part of."
Why does you being Christian have anything to do with that?
Yeah, I was like,
I think it's horrible. You don't have to mention that.
Nah, I wrote like you shouldn't be for sexual assault. Like you should be against that.
Is that what you said?
That's the lesson. That's a great lesson, Jamie. Great moral.
Yeah, and
Hi,
I was like,
Albert.
really,
Sorry that this derailed. Kind of like Deshaun Watson has derailed the Cleveland Browns, and now his season is completely.
Hey, Jamie, why did DTR go in ahead of Winston?
well, on the Sunday show, I got a notification that said Jameis Winston's out, not
That's
playing.
what I got. Yeah.
So I think they just had him out for the game, not expecting Deshaun to get hurt. I don't know. And then
Then
they finally put him in.
There was rumors of an injury. Like, was he hurt at all? And they didn't want to risk it until the other guy got hurt, and they had to go in with him as the third.
Well, I mean, okay. I guess my question is, if Deshaun Watson was declared inactive for the game, is what I heard, right? So
Winston.
Winston was declared inactive for the game.
That's what I saw on my phone. He said it was out, so I was surprised.
He was the emergency third QB, right? Like, with the new rules, like your third QB isn't going to count as one of your active. I think it's like 46 active players. Your third QB doesn't count that way, but they'll still be ready to go in emergency. And in this case, both Browns quarterbacks got hurt, so that's where you have to go to your emergency third.
So it's only the QB position that you can
this
declare
is the Brock
inactive?
Purdy rule. This is.
So this wasn't just happening, because I remember like punters going in there, kickers going in.
Well, this is, remember the playoff game, I guess it's 2022 NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy got hurt, and then Josh Johnson got hurt. This is a direct result of that, because that offseason they changed that rule.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, stop crying about Watson. Boo-hoo.
So who do you think the Browns are starting?
Whip-de-doo.
Jamie, who do you think the Browns are starting this week?
It's going to be Winston.
Unless they're actually tanking, and then it's DTR.
Well, here's the thing. Like, the way they were talking, like, we expect DTR back this season.
Yeah.
That was what Kevin Stefanski said, which that doesn't sound like he's gonna play this week. We're expecting him back to practice this week. Well, we're expecting him back this season. Like, this isn't a season-ending injury. If you're already thinking that extreme, he's probably not in a position to practice and start this week. So that's why I think almost by default Winston's going to start. Mm-hmm. But which means he's also probably pretty safe to, like, he's not going to get benched or anything, even though he's probably going to throw a bunch of interceptions because it's.
Well, I have Winston, so I don't care. As long as Winston's playing, I'm good.
It's funny because in a league where I have Deshaun Watson, I made sure to pick up Winston, so now I can just drop Watson. It's great.
Oh, I've had Winston on a bunch of my teams already. I've been waiting for this.
Good job. No, I traded him away when he was still with the Saints and people thought he was a starter, and like I got some good deals, like Jared Goff on super cheap for that. So like I remember that year, it was Winston versus Taysom Hill was a training camp battle. And my first thought is, okay, if Winston is really as good as people think, this shouldn't even be a training camp battle. This should be clearly his job. So the fact that it was like close is like, maybe this dude isn't that good. And so when he was named the starter, I was like, I'm selling every share. And so dynasty-wise, I have none. It's a redraft.
Dude, Saints' infatuation with Taysom Hill is just unfathomable. Unfathomable.
Final words, I just hope we never see Deshaun Watson ever again in the NFL.
We're going to see him again.
I don't know.
I'm sorry to crush your hope, Jamie, but you're a Cleveland Browns fan.
As bad as he played, I don't know.
There is thought that he might take his time with rehab and like, okay, I'll just get paid to just rehab for all of next year.
Yeah.
Was there a clause that they on his salary if he gets hurt? I think they had an insurance policy out on him.
I think it was more about like further suspensions than what he already had, and like if there's something else came out, some other behavior, or like he did something else afterwards, like I think those are the reasons that it would be null and void. I mean, for the Browns, it's easy. They just put him on IR, and they could just put him on IR all of next year, which this solves their cap problem of if they cut him, they have so much dead cap that they actually like, okay, if we cut Watson, we have to cut like 4 or 5 players just to make the dead cap work. So
they don't pay you if you're on IR.
Well, I mean, that's more about the owner, right? Like that's Haslam having to fork out the money, but it doesn't count towards the cap.
Oh, okay.
So like it doesn't mess up their roster flexibility. They don't have to make a bunch of cuts to not have him on the team. That was the big problem of like why they can't really trade him or cut him. I mean, they could, but it's going to completely alter their team. They're going to have to make like drastic moves to cut players almost immediately just to make it work. And that's still a problem next year. That's still kind of a problem in 2026. So this actually is I was listening to a pod. This is the best case scenario for the Browns is him getting hurt because that's how it doesn't mess up their salary cap.
Was it a non-contact injury?
It's an Achilles tear. It doesn't matter, right? Like it's.
Well, was it a non-contact injury? Did he fall down or did someone fall on him?
No, I'm pretty sure when he was running, he just went down on his own. But what was funny, I think that in that play, you see Wilkes, he stepped aside and the guy ran right past him to go after Watson. Watson took off, and that was the end of it.
I mean, if you're on the wrong side, right, you don't want to make a blindside block too. Like you're guys making a big run. Don't take a penalty and nullify it, right? Like that thought is also there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is talk that like guys aren't playing as hard for him. Like, Amari Cooper dropped all these passes because he doesn't like Watson. Has he never liked any quarterback? Because that's all Amari Cooper's done his whole career.
Nobody likes Watson, and I'm pretty sure the ownership made all those players give those speeches about him because I guarantee those players.
We'll pay you extra under the table to say that.
What do you mean?
It's not your money anymore. Then it's mine.
They gave speeches about him.
Oh yeah, even Winston had this like big old God speech, and it's like, dude, if you believe that, I hate you too because I don't support sexual assault and abuse of women, and if you support that, you can go to hell.
Well, it's Winston. Of course, he supports it. He's done it.
Yep.
That's why he's been brought in as the backup. He's the one quarterback because Roethlisberger's retire. He's the one quarterback that they can guarantee isn't going to make Watson feel guilty about that. He's just as much of a predator as he is. So it's like, okay, that could be, and that's not the exact words that was used, but Andrew Berry did mention we brought in a backup that Watson was comfortable with. Those were exact words, and I'm reading between the lines of what comfortable means. I've got a pretty good idea what that means in that instance. At least I've just kind of spelled it out right.
All right, let's move on. I'm sick of talking about.
We still have to talk about the AFC North. Ravens, yeah, again. I guess.
So, Jamie, are you just like commandeering our show? Is that what's happening? Let's just move on because I'm sick of talking about it. You're just commandeering the show.
I'm just heated when it comes to that guy because I hear so many people defending him, like calling Browns fans bad for booing him, or when he came out of the tunnel, it's like, and then they cheered him when he got carted off. I'm sick of hearing it. He got off easy.
So we're not done. It's an important message to say, Jamie, so feel free to say it. But yeah, if we are ready, we can talk about props, the spread, higher, lower. Gladys, since Jamie's been commandeering, you want some control. I'll let you bring back control. What do you want to talk about first?
I want Jamie to go ahead and fully grab control. And
I'm sure we'll talk more about it tomorrow on the cheat sheet.
Oh yeah, there's probably lots of rants happening from all four co-hosts. Great show. Again, going for 2 live. Doubleheader Tuesdays with Speak on It and Fantasy Cheat Sheet starting at 5:30 Mountain, 7:30 Eastern. For most people, I don't care about Pacific time, people. Sorry.
Welcome, Gerald, to the chat.
Yeah, hey, it's Jay. Hey, Jay.
What up, Jay? Jay has got the cutest puppy ever.
And the Rams one. Good for Jay.
Almost cute as mine, but close.
Wait, which one, Missy or Jack?
Okay, Missy's not a puppy. Missy is Satan. Let's just get that straight.
See, I figured it was Jack.
So if I ever say puppy, I'm talking about Jack.
Okay.
If I say Satan, I'm talking about Missy.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. But hey, Jay, what's up? Is Jay going to join us when the Rams play on Monday night? The Rams play on Monday night ever?
I've got the list here. Let me.
Do the Rams get a Monday night game?
Week 10.
Yeah, Jay, we'll see you in week 10. And the puppy. Yeah. You have to bring the puppy on the show, too.
Yeah, let us know, Jay, if week 10, which is, I guess, is 3 weeks from now, Rams Dolphins, if you want to join for that episode, feel free.
That's another thing. I am tired of people saying that Mike McDaniel's a good coach because he's done shit since Tua's gone out. And I'm sorry, there are other coaches in the league whose name I'm not going to mention because then it would just start another whole conversation that I don't want to get into because Green Bay is like the greatest team ever. That their coach managed to, I don't know, what do you want to say? Managed to keep his team afloat even better. He did better than keep his team afloat when their number one quarterback went out. So no one tell me how great an offensive coordinator, how great an offensive mind Mike is if he can't do anything with his team. Tyreek Hill had like negative yards. Tyreek Hill had negative yards. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, and Tyler Huntley's a good quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
so it's not like you could forgive him if it was just Tim Boyle or Skylar Thompson. But we've seen Tyler Huntley have success on good organizations like the Ravens. So yeah, I think part of it, Gladys, is Mike McDaniel designed this offense for Tua. Tua's skill sets. He's a quick thrower who can throw deep with accurate very quickly. It's honestly, but that's what are you laughing at me or?
Yeah. He didn't dumb down. Okay, Jay. All right. I don't want to. Jay, because you have such a cute puppy, I'm not going to even talk.
It's tough to dumb down the offense because it's totally built around let's quickly get the ball out of Tua's hands.
Yeah.
But not just dump offs. Let's let him do that, on the intermediate and deep routes. Not a lot of quarterbacks can throw that quickly downfield. Like he had one of the highest times to from snap to throw. Like it's very Tom Brady-esque, but also had one of the highest yards per attempt. And so and highest air yards on throws. So you don't really see that. You see one or the other, right? Like the Aaron Rodgers higher air yard throw era with the Packers. He was one of the highest time to hold the ball, like Patrick Mahomes, right? Like these guys, they tend to scramble and hold the ball down, or they hold the ball to hit the downfield options more.
All I'm saying,
Tua does it quickly. Not a lot of quarterbacks can do that. So
even if he had to dumb down the offense with Malik, Mike should have been able to. Mike had a he had.
I mean,
he has a good core around Tua. Like you have Tyreek Hill, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Raheem Mostert, you have Chain or whatever he wants to be called now, and you're telling me you can't beat the Indianapolis Colts? Anthony Richardson's Indianapolis Colts.
And I mean, that's where I'm going to bring it to this point when he's talking about the Packers, dumbed down offense. It's not that it was dumbed down. It's just the Colts couldn't stop the run. So at that point, it's like, well, let's just keep running the whole game. Like Josh Jacobs' career high rush yard game. Or I think it was most rush yards he's ever had in one half of football was that first half against the Colts.
So I don't want to hear about
which is strange that Miami didn't focus on that so much. Like why didn't they they've got the horses to exploit the run game here against the Colts. So even to that extent, it's not even about quarterback play, just how good that they were at executing the run game. Much different against the same opponent, much different result than the Packers to the Dolphins. Because here's the thing, against
you guys played the Colts with Flacco and not did they play Richardson? Was it Richardson?
Yeah, it was early. That was week 2, so Richardson was still healthy at that point. Okay. I think Richardson got hurt the next week. I think so. Week 4 on was when Flacco started getting starts. But I don't think the offense was dumbed down at all because you saw that Titans game in week 2. They came out slinging it down the field right away because the Titans are a very good run defense, and they weren't just going to run it up the gut and try and make these outside runs. I've never seen Josh Jacob run outside zone so well because he's usually a north-south. He's really good at the inside running, but he was doing the outside running stuff against the Colts, and it was working. So it wasn't even Josh Jacobs' strength. They were that bad at defending the run. The Titans are not the team to try stuff like that against, and they knew it. So I disagree. I don't think the offense was changed at all. I think I've made this point. And Matt LaFleur's talked about it. The offense playbook didn't change at all. What changed is how Matt LaFleur called the playbook. I'm going to call, the things that Malik does that are already in our playbook, the things I like that it looks like he does better, that's what I'm going to gear the calling towards. But I think, because you don't want to just drastically change it, because like you mentioned the supporting cast, if they know the offense, keep that consistent so they're still performing. Because if they're having to suddenly relearn a new offense from one week to the next, they're not as effective. I think that's what really helped the Packers receivers. Okay, it's the same route combinations we're running. The blocking scheme was the same. Everything, all the other players, their roles are the same. It's just you have different quarterbacks, so everything changes as a result of that. But I think because so much will change, keep as much as you can the same is kind of the key. But yeah, there's no excuse based on quarterback because Huntley is good enough.
And you're coming off a bye week.
Exactly.
You're coming off a bye week. I don't want to hear anything else about Mike Bennett. I'm done. I'm done with it.
Because if Malik Willis went to the Dolphins, he might be performing just as well as Huntley's doing right now. So definitely, Matt LaFleur is a better coach than Mike McDaniel. So
well, I mean, we knew that anyway.
Well, but now I think the talk of Matt LaFleur potentially being a top 5 coach in the league, I think is definitely real.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is he a candidate for coach of the year?
No, there's way too many other coaches that are having like spectacular years.
Like who?
Minnesota, O'Connell.
I was gonna say, is Andy Reid because they're 6-0?
Andy Reid. That's what I was gonna say. 6-0 with
all the receiver injuries. But yeah, you're right. Like Kevin O'Connell, but they getting Sam Darnold to do this is pretty. It's still early. We'll see how the season goes. But yeah,
Sean McVay's gonna like come up and win like the next 7 games. So
that's true. Yeah, I mean, if they go on a win streak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Campbell could. Too. Yeah, no, that's fair, Jay. That's another good one too. There's hey, I mean, not Eberflus, but all three other coaches in the NFC North are pretty good.
Ugh. Yeah.
But yeah, AFC North versus AFC or NFC South, so opposites here. Attractive. It's a very attractive game. Again, 49.5 for the higher lower. Ravens 3.5 point favorites. So Gladys, where are we starting tonight?
With the player props.
Well, the theme is Lamar Jackson because all three of us, Gladys, Dan, and myself, are taking Lamar Jackson props higher. So I actually want to start with Dan's because it involves Lamar Jackson's passing yards. And it seems like Dan wants people to know he's thrown 300 passing yards in back-to-back games. And like it seems like no one's talking about it. What is it's set at? His passing yards, I think we're set at like 231 and a half. And again, back-to-back 300-yard games against the Bucs team, and it's supposed to be this big shootout. I almost went that way myself. Now, Dan's not actually taking the yards straight up. He is going Lamar Jackson plus 28 passing yards, rival versus Baker Mayfield. So something we haven't done yet this year. We've done it a couple times in the past, but a rival is when you have two players for the same prop, and it's the difference between them. And in this case, Baker Mayfield his prop is set 28 yards higher than Lamar Jackson's. So if Lamar is within 27 yards or less of Baker Mayfield's passing, or just outright has more than him, Dan wins his prop for the week. So,
what's Baker Mayfield's prop?
Like it's 28. It's 28 more, so I think it's like 259 and a half. If Lamar's at 231 and a half, 28 more would be 259 and a half.
Wait, I thought rival was when so Lamar has to pass 28 and a half more than what Mayfield actually passes.
No, if you pick Baker, that would be the case. But he's picking Lamar, and Lamar's the underdog in this. So if Lamar is 20 yards less than Baker, Dan wins. Now if he's 29 yards less than Baker, then he'd lose. Then it's too much of a gap.
Oh, okay. I don't like that. I think
Lamar. So Lamar has to be.
If Baker has 289 yards and Lamar only has 205 yards passing.
Yep. Then he wouldn't get it.
He'd lose.
I think he's just betting that Lamar is going to get enough passing yards that he's either going to be close enough to Baker or again, maybe just outright, maybe Lamar gets more passing yards than Baker this game. I think that's what the bet Dan is making.
Huh.
Because again,
I would have went the other way on that.
If he thinks Lamar is going to get 300 yards passing, that's let's say it's exactly 300 yards. That's 40 yards more than Baker's expected prop. And maybe his prop goes higher as well. But I think Dan's just flat out just having faith in Lamar passing and straight up over Baker. And again, you're given 28 passing yards as kind of this buffer zone too. That even if Baker passes them by a little bit, there's still a way to win. So.
Yeah, the only problem is Lamar doesn't have Mike Evans. He doesn't have a Chris Godwin on his team.
Yeah. But Jamal
I'd say Flowers, but I wouldn't put Zay Flowers.
He's not even compared to either of them.
Yeah, Jamal Dean's out too. So
I mean, I've got all three of them as top 12 wide receivers this week. So I think Zay Flowers can still be fine. But yeah, it's to the point of
and plus the two, they're going to go two tight end sets. So
it sounds like
50.
Jamie, you would be more comfortable.
Andrews is going to have a big game.
Yeah, I think so too.
So it sounds like you'd just be more comfortable taking Lamar's passing yards as opposed to doing the rivals thing. But I think it's also, let's say Baker has a bad game and he doesn't hit it, right? And Lamar kind of, even if he goes under his prop, might still be more than Baker within that 28 yards, right? So it's also betting on that, against this Ravens defense. What if Baker has the bad game? I know based on like we talked about on the Sunday stream yesterday, based on fantasy rankings where we have Baker, it's like you and I aren't expecting that, Jamie. But
it's hard. It's hard to run on Baltimore, so you're going to have to pass, and he does have 2 top 12 options to pass to. So plus his tight end, and all his running backs are pass catchers. So I just don't see Baker having a bad game, but I see how it is possible because it is Baker Mayfield.
Spoken like a true Browns fan, but Gladys, you're going so not with Lamar passing, but Lamar running or receiving.
Over a half touchdown.
So again, this is not passing. It has to be a rushing or again a receiving touchdown, but most likely a rushing touchdown. So
looks like a rushing touchdown.
He just has to find the end zone.
Yep.
I'm going with Lamar Jackson running as well. 52.5 rush yards. And one of the things that really gave me confidence in this one was seeing that Jaden Daniels had, I think, 88 rushing yards against the Buccaneers. I think Bo Nix had something like 47 rush yards against them. So there's a couple like these faster quarterbacks. The Bucs have allowed more on the ground. And actually, one of the trends this year, this is the worst Bucs run defense that we've seen in like half a decade. Because for the last few years, they've been elite run defense, like nonstop. Like even back to Jameis Winston's last year with the Bucs, they were like the best run defense in the league. It's not the case anymore. Like this year, they've actually been really susceptible to the run. So this could be, I think, a big game for.
God, I just realized that it's brother and brother. Both brothers will be playing on Monday night. Their teams. That's awesome.
Which brothers?
Except I hate Harbaugh. But other than that.
Oh, wait, both Harbaugh brothers. Yeah.
Yep.
Both on the road too. So no one gets to have the home cooked meal at the Harbaugh house. So yeah, again, all three of us going Lamar Jackson props. Gladys going with higher than half of rushing touchdown or receiving touchdown for Lamar Jackson. I'm going 52.5 rushing yards higher again for L. Jackson. Then Dan's taking the Lamar Jackson rivals versus Baker Mayfield plus 28 passing yards. So again, it's as long as Lamar is within 27 yards of Baker or higher than him, Dan will win his prop.
And it sounds like Jamie would have taken Baker Mayfield passing yards over higher.
I think it was 259.5.
Yeah, 255, 259. Yeah, whatever the 250 is, I would take the over on that one.
I'm curious what Jay thinks is spicy. Was it the rivals thing we were talking about, or me taking Lamar rushing yards, or even Gladys? I mean, is it all three, or the fact that all of us are going with Lamar Jackson? Is that where the spice is? Sorry, JD. Go ahead and let us know if some of your favorite props for this game.
I would definitely take the Baker Mayfield over the passing yards. I would also take Baker over 1.5 touchdowns. I just don't think the running. Yeah, passing touchdowns. The running backs aren't going to be that involved, especially on the goal line or in the red zone. So I could see Baker scoring 2 touchdowns. So 1.5 over. I do have a Mike Evans prop. Are we on receivers yet, or are we just talking quarterback?
Well, we're just doing all props. Like this just happened to be all of us took Lamar Jackson. Like that's not always the case. So that was just
okay. So I'm pretty sure Mike Evans was at around 55.5 receiving yards, which is ludicrous because he can get that on one catch. I don't understand.
As long as he's not playing Lattimore, yes, agreed.
He's had some big games. He's also had some bad games this year. I think he had 3 bad games. But anyway, his average is 75.5 or like around that 75 mark per game if you take all his averages. So why wouldn't he get 55.5? I mean, he can get 100 yards easy. But to play safe, take that 55.5 over.
Well, in my salary cap contract league, I need like big games from both Henry and Mike Evans, so I definitely approve.
Mm-hmm. Mike Evans touchdown. It's coming. That positive regression that we all talk about. Yeah, his touchdown is also coming. So if you want to get spicy, take the Mike Evans touchdown.
Wait, what did you say, Mike Evans? It's at 58.5 now. Is that what you said?
58? I mean, I think he's going to get like 70, 80. So yeah, take that 50, whatever it is, plus.
No.
His touchdown is at 115 right now, plus 115.
Plus 115. Okay, yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I guess. Okay. So there's 7 Mike Evans props you like. Are there different players, Jamie? Or
Let's see. What else do I got? Not for this game. Not like locks. I mean, I got Lamar Jackson at about 220 yards and
Total?
1 touchdown.
Wait, total?
No,
Passing?
yeah, 220 passing.
so which Lamar Jackson prop did you like the most? Do you like the passing yards more than anything that the 3 of us picked?
No, I think I like yours better. I don't like Dan's because if I have Baker at 255 plus and Lamar at 220,
yeah,
then
I think that's too much. It's just out of reach, that 28.
But I do like your both ones. But if I had to do
Rushing
a passing yards, it would be like, I don't know if he gets a rushing. I know he gets 1 touchdown. I just don't know if it's going to be rushing or passing.
Yeah, it's a complicated one.
You only think he's going to get 1 touchdown?
That's why I was trying to go play it safer with the rushing yards, thinking that's more his game, right? Like this is a guy that runs out in the open field. For how many yards he gets, he's not like a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen like we saw last year, like the tons of rushing touchdowns. Yeah. He'll get some, but it's not as many as those guys. So
and then I looked at Derrick Henry. It's
enough that Jake Gladys could hit it for sure. Sorry.
But Derrick Henry's 2+ touchdowns is only at plus 220 for 2 touchdowns. Like that's insanely low.
Hey, man, especially against the Bucs, but that's the world we live in now. They're not an elite defense.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him with 3 maybe, but like the one's at minus 250. So it's not even worth betting that one.
Oh yeah, he's guaranteed. Perfect. Give me that touchdown.
He's guaranteed 1.
Money ballers, give me that money.
I mean, the odds are saying it's pretty much a lock at 2. So I'm staying away from Lamar's touchdowns because I see him getting 1. I just don't know if it's going to be passing or rushing. So I'm not betting Lamar's touchdown.
So one thing I'll kind of shout out. Well, so Jay seems to agree with you, Jamie, in that it's kind of thinking the rivals is very spicy. So not something we're used. We don't often take rivals picks. I think I've done it once or twice in the past. Dan's done it a couple times as well. I don't think you've ever done it before though.
No, I have not.
Too spicy for you. But the one thing that gives me kind of confidence, and I'll move over to the spreads now, is taking the Ravens as 3.5 point favorites, even on the road, is my goal line guide for this week has the Ravens passing grade, the highest I've ever recorded in the history of the goal line guide. 130 is their passing grade. They have scored every touchdown on every single throw from inside the 5-yard line. And the Bucs have also allowed a touchdown on every throw inside their own 5-yard line. So it just converges. You've got Lamar, who's an excellent red zone thrower, with this Bucs defense that's especially bad passing-wise in the red zone. Ravens' pass defense is also bad in the red zone, which is why Baker is so appealing this week. But yeah, that 130 for that grade is the highest I've ever recorded. So that tells me like Lamar is probably going to have success, especially passing near the red zone, which is why, as much as I like his skill set, I kind of stayed away from the rushing touchdown prop like Gladys. So that was my lean kind of against it because it so heavily favors him passing in the red zone this week.
So who does he throw a touchdown to?
Well, I would assume Zay Flowers and probably at least one of the tight ends, whether it's Andrews, likely, or Kohler. Like,
what if it's Justice Hill?
Oh yeah, Hill could have it too for sure.
He's at plus 125, so I just put $1 on him to score a touchdown.
What's Flowers at? Because I think because Flowers just gets the most targets.
Flowers is only at 130, so I mean, odds are it is Flowers, but
minus 130. Okay.
Plus.
Oh, plus. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean,
and then Isaiah Likely, just because I'm pretty sure he leads them in red zone targets still.
Okay.
Plus 265.
He might actually be the one. I think I kind of like those odds on a touchdown thrower. Probably Isaiah Likely if you really wanted to match up one.
So odds are it's probably going to be Likely or Flowers. If you want to go ballsy like me, it's going to be Justice Hill.
Well, and I mean, I think it'd be smart to parlay Lamar passing touchdown with one of those receiving touchdowns, right?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
What's Lamar? Is he at 1.5 passing touchdowns?
If Justice Hill does get a touchdown, so you'd have to parlay it.
Yeah, get the. I imagine Lamar's at 1.5 touchdowns for the like close to even odds passing wise.
Hold on.
Good question. Let me look. But like I was saying, I don't know if it's going to be a passing or Lamar running. So, but yeah, if I am going to take the Justice Hill touchdown, I would go over a half touchdown from Lamar. But I don't know. I don't think I want to go over that 1.5.
Lamar's at 2. It's -120.
1.5. Yeah, 120.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel comfortable with that. I'm still not comfortable enough to make it as my pick, though. Yeah, I'm still
So if I was
bank
going
on
to do
his
it, I
rushing.
would parlay the Lamar over 1.5 with the safer one, which would be Flowers or Likely, right?
Well, I mean, I guess up the odds and go with both, right? Because if he's going to hit 2 touchdowns, there's going to be 2 guys, so bank on
Smart.
targets.
Yeah.
But then there's more to risk, right? So it's all about the risk reward idea of it. But yeah, I mean, anyway, that's my thinking is how good they'll be at passing in the red zone. I think is what's going to make the difference in this game and why I'm comfortable taking the Ravens.
I mean, that 3-leg parlay right there is at plus 950.
Wait, what's your third parlay? What's the third leg of
Well,
that?
No, it'd be Zay
Flowers
Flowers
and
touchdown, Isaiah Likely touchdown.
Oh, you took 2 anytime touchdowns and with Lamar.
And Lamar's
and with
1.5
Lamar
passing.
1.5 over. It would.
Dude, I mean, if you really like Justice Hill, take out Zay Flowers and go Justice Hill and see that go like over plus 1,000, right?
Oh yeah, that would crazy odds. Let's see what that will go with.
That might almost be like if you really think that's the angle.
Yeah, that would be at plus.
If you really think Justice Hill's going to score, that might be the angle.
Dude. Yeah, so instead of 3,100 as opposed to 950, that's crazy.
That's crazy that it jumps that much because I think the one thing Flowers leads the team in targets, but he hasn't had a ton of end zone and red zone targets. So like, for those like long shot odds, that might actually be worth it on that.
I'm just gonna put $1 on it. Like $1 wins me $31. And I'll do it. I'll do $1 with the Likely and Flowers one too.
Yeah, there you go. Good luck there, dude. So Gladys, what was your reasoning behind taking the Ravens at 3.5?
Because I think they're gonna beat Tampa Bay.
Sure. I mean, again, like I had something specific with the goal line guide of really pushing that. Like, you just think they're that much better than the Bucs.
Yeah. Yes, I do. I think that. I think.
Do you think the Ravens are the best team in the league?
In the NFL?
Yeah.
They're top 3. I would say they're top 3 for sure.
You're clearly not thinking the Bucs are that.
No, I mean, I think the Bucs are good, but I think Baker Mayfield's too volatile for them to be this year, for them to be a top 3 team. Like Mayfield has played really well, and kudos to him when he's back, has been against the wall. But we all know that Mayfield is also capable of not playing really well when his back's against the wall. And that New Orleans game, I think everyone thinks that New Orleans game, I forgot how many passes that he threw, but his average yards per attempt were like 2.7. He got all those yards. He had 300 yards on Yak. Like,
for sure. Chris Godwin's big touchdown. Most of that, like, I think it was a 10 air yards at most, and then Godwin.
Even if the Ravens
Tucker, his
pass defense is leaky, it's not gonna be like a New Orleans leaky. It's not gonna be like we're missing tackles on people down the field. So Mayfield can throw for 2.7 yards per attempt and
still score 51 points.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that it was an outlier that is skewing people's perceptions of what he's capable of doing. And kudos to him, but I don't think I would not compare New Orleans defense in its present form to Baltimore Ravens defense in their present form.
Truly one of the best units in the league.
Yeah.
And maybe this is some insight on why Dan's taking Lamar in the passing yards, because he's actually going with the Bucs as 3.5-point underdogs.
Oh, yeah?
And I wonder if his thinking is, okay, it will be a true back and forth shootout. It's going to force Lamar into more passing scripts, or the Bucs could even outright win, and the Ravens are trailing, and that's why it's so many pass attempts. So I think it makes sense for Dan to kind of combine those two thoughts, right? If he really thinks the Bucs have a chance to win, then Lamar's probably going to have to pass a lot in a close contest, and therefore at least gets close to Baker's passing yardage. So I suppose all of that combines to make sense. He's also going the higher on the 49.5, which is, I believe, our highest. Yeah, that is our highest total of the year so far.
Yeah, I
Got
think
a
I went
46.5 a couple times, but yeah, 49.5 is the highest we've had on Monday night. And Dan is totally taking the over. So like all of that screams, it's a big shootout back and forth, a lot of passing yards. So I'll say that's Dan's kind of set of 3 for
I'm with you, Jay. I went lower. I don't think it's gonna. I think like the way this week has gone, which has been ridiculous as far as I heard that there was like maybe 2 wide receivers that had over 100 receiving yards this week. I'm going to go lower. I think that it's going to be not a defensive battle, but it's going to be a lot of kicking scores, which is why I'm taking a lot of kicking props right now.
Well, and I mean, yeah, to Jay's mentioning, yeah, like Derrick Henry, maybe those are some strong props to just have his yards and things like that. But Gladys and I are both going lower, and actually, I guess, yeah, coincides, we're both going the Ravens as well. So and we're both taking Lamar Jackson rushing at different aspects to his rushing, but our set of 3 for the Ravens are almost identical. So we're going down in the ship together. So either we're pretty close or not so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's entirely possible that Derrick Henry salts the game, like that they just give the ball to Derrick Henry over and over again, and Mayfield isn't on the field that much. The Bucs just don't get time to score as many points.
The Ravens don't want to get to a 50-point game. They're totally comfortable.
Yeah, I think they're totally winning however they can win.
Makes sense. I'm actually going double lower this week, and I guess we'll transition to our second game, the Chargers and the Cardinals. So we've got LA favored by 1.5 on the road. So again, both road favorites tonight and home dogs with the Cardinals in this case, Arizona as the home team. 44.5 is the higher lower. And again, I mentioned I'm going lower for both games, so I'm going to take the lower on this 44.5 as well, just because both Harbaughs think the same way. The Chargers have no problem making this a very low-scoring game. They've done that all year. Their defense has actually been pretty good, so they've been able to get away with it. They're going to run a ton. I mean, speaking of the Ravens, transitioning from Ravens to Chargers, J.K. Dobbins just saw a career high in carries in a single game. The first time he's ever eclipsed 20 carries in a game. Probably also not a coincidence. This is the first game he's ever played that Gus Edwards wasn't on the team with him in the backfield. So now he doesn't have to deal with Gus Edwards again. This is another big lean on J.K. Dobbins' game. And maybe the Cardinals, to a certain extent, try and reestablish the run lean on James Conner. So I like kind of both of these games going lower than their projected points total. So I guess we'll start there with the higher lower because Gladys, I think you've got a different argument to make for this game.
Yeah, I went higher, I think. Didn't I go higher in the Chargers?
Yep. Yeah, I saw you said higher, so that's why I marked down here.
Yeah.
Dan did as well, so you two are in line with this one.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ugly game. I think that everyone's talking about how great the Chargers defense is. I believe that three of the teams they played weren't exactly offensive juggernauts, and neither.
One of those was Bo Nix, so yeah.
And neither.
Oh, the Panthers. They crushed the Panthers too, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that was Bryce Young Panthers, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you're right. You're totally right, Gladys.
So I just think that Kyler Murray has it within his wheelhouse to lead the team to a high score. I'm not betting on Marvin Harrison. I'm betting on Wilson and Trey McBride because Chargers suck against the tight end. However, there is also within that wheelhouse that J.K. Dobbins, if they get the ball first, that J.K. Dobbins again does the Derrick Henry thing, and Kyler Murray hardly ever sees the field. The potential outcome in this game is just ridiculous for me. Like either way can go. It can go either way.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about J.K. Dobbins, I mean, Jay's kind of admitting he was wrong. I was also taking Gus Edwards ahead of J.K. Dobbins this year in drafts. And by chance, I happened to get J.K. in one league, and it's honestly one of my best leagues. If I'm down, what am I down by? I'm down by 15.3 points with both Baker Mayfield and J.K. Dobbins to go. Kind of feeling like, okay, both of them could combine for 15 points, I think. So
what is your opponent? Does your opponent have anyone playing today?
Nope, they're done. They're done they're at 137.6 in terms of their points right now. They got no one left. So kind of got lucky that they got 0 from Debo and 0.3 from Devontae Smith. That's definitely helped me out. Jaden Reed and Tyreek Hill both kind of messed me up. I should at this point. It's our own fault with Tyreek Hill. But yeah, if JK could carry me to this win again, like that's a 6-1 team that's looking pretty good with like Travis Etienne and Devon Achane as like the high investments at running back and just getting bailed out by the fact that I took J.K. Dobbins late. So thanks, JK.
You have to go to 90 plus rushing to get a plus on J.K. Dobbins props right now.
I think touchdown chance might make more sense. And to be fair, good transition to talk about Dan's prop for this game is J.K. Dobbins half a rushing touchdown high or receiving. So basically the anytime touchdown, like Gladys is taking for Lamar Jackson in the other game. Dan's going that same type of prop here for J.K. Dobbins.
If they score, chances are it's either going to be McConkey or J.K. Dobbins. Realistically, if they score, but Marvin Harrison's at plus for like plus 165 for an anytime score. Like, I don't have any faith in Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think that's crazy odds. I think
here are the teams the Chargers have faced. Thanks, Jay, for doing all the research for us. So we've got the Raiders, the Panthers, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. And the bye week. Which they didn't lose to the bye week, so they crushed that one. JK.
Hey, Jamie, do you think that what would you give Herbert for his passing props?
Well, it's going to be more of a run game.
Right. So what would you give Herbert for his passing props?
I was a little shocked when I saw it too, but
yeah, I know, right?
Honestly, you look at what he's done this year. We'll see what Jamie thinks. But
like what is that? Like what, 215 maybe? Lower.
I saw it. I don't know what it's at now. Earlier, I saw it at 197.5.
Yeah.
So they're thinking he's going below 200. I looked. He's been below 200 yards most of the season. So.
Oh yeah, 225's at a plus. 175 is at a minus 235. So yeah, I'm pretty sure 180, 190 would be decent.
I think he's going to go over 200 yards. I think that they want it to be a run game.
200's at minus 115, so yeah, it's not bad.
I think he's going to go over 200 yards. I think that I honestly think this is going to be one of those games where it's either going to be what we think the Ravens game's going to be, like the back and forth, and so everyone's scoring, or Arizona gets blown out by Chargers, not because of their defense, but because they unleash Herbert.
Well, and it's pretty obvious what Gladys is picking for the teams, but we'll save the spreads for the end there.
So, Gladys, you're taking the under on Dobbins rushing then if Herbert's going to go over on his passing?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because you're saying Dobbins' rush yards are pretty high. And
yeah, it's like
Vidal a little bit, but
he has to get 90 plus to get plus 115. And of course
he had a career high in carries last week, and I think he got like 97 yards, right? So it'll take that like gargantuan effort again. And like, do you make that happen 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah. Plus, I think what's that other guy's name? Vidal?
That dude's electric, man.
Yeah, I would go over on his.
Yeah, it's only at 19 and a half.
Exactly.
Rushing.
I didn't see his receiving yards prop because I was looking those for the running backs, but
he hasn't been efficient on his rushing, but for his receiving,
he's barely touched the ball. That's the thing. Like, you don't really know yet. He's one game. Right? That's it.
But on his 4 attempts, he touched the ball first time, got a touchdown. They're not even giving him a receiving prop.
Yeah, so it's weird because they think anything they set, he'll just go over on one play, right? So they're afraid to set it there. But the truth is, like, I'm looking at the Chargers inactive.
Oh, found one.
Sorry?
You can get a 25 plus receiving yards at plus 550. That's like one catch for him.
Well, it's his first catch for him, right? It doesn't mean every catch is going for 30 yards. But yeah, you can get that in one play.
Oh, man.
But I mean, I think what also helps that though is Chargers receivers out. So Quentin Johnston's out for this game. Darius Davis is out. I guess that doesn't really matter. But Hayden Hurst, the tight end, is also out. So,
Is DJ Chark in or out?
I think he's still on IR.
No,
Yeah,
they took
I
him
don't
off
think he's
IR.
ever played yet.
They took him off IR and he practiced.
Oh, well,
Wednesday.
then he's in because he's not on the inactive list.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When you get excited about DJ Chark, it's a sad day in fantasy football.
I feel like there's definitely a league where I have him on IR. I'm gonna have to go make sure.
Yeah, he's listed on. If you go to DraftKings, he's listed as IR, but they took him off IR and he practiced Wednesday. So
DJ Chark's season debut on hold. He wasn't activated on IR. I think what they opened his practice window. I think that might be what you're seeing. So his 21-day practice window was open Wednesday. So they actually still have 2 more weeks before they have to make him active. And then if they don't, he'll be on IR for the rest of the year. So DJ Chark is not playing tonight.
So for that Kamani Vidal receiving yards at 25 plus, I just bet 2 gumballs and I can get a king size candy bar if I win.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Yeah. So I put
You
50 cents.
You bet his receiving yards, not his rushing yards?
Receiving yards at plus 25 or 25 plus. So I bet 50 cents and I can win 325. So I could turn 2 gumballs into a king size candy bar.
That's an interesting analogy. Okay.
So I guess Gladys, do you want to share your prop or do you want me to go next?
Yeah, I totally forgot what my prop was. So yeah, you go.
Okay. So it's funny. My prop is actually essentially the same as my first prop. I'm going with a quarterback rushing yards higher. Kyler Murray is set at 32.5.
Ooh.
This one, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to approach it. There is a Canadian player that I think does have some appeal with Josh Palmer at 35.5. But seeing Murray at, I think it's 35.5 receiving yards, but seeing Murray's rush yards that low, I mean, he's smashing past this in some games. Again, we saw against the 49ers, he could literally get that in one play. So I like doubling up on quarterback rush yards this week with Lamar and with Kyler. 20 less rush yards for Murray, though, so it's even less pressure, I think, with the 32.5 rush yards. But I feel that was, of all the props I looked up for this Cardinals-Chargers game, that was the one I felt the most comfortable with.
Wait, what was my prop?
So you wrote down Trey McBride higher than 5.5 receptions.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm sticking.
I mean, he's one of the tight ends generating targets every single week. I mean, it's him, Brock Bowers, George Kittle. I guess technically Evan Ingram, if you go targets per game, like he's smashing there too. It's like those are the 4, like Jake Ferguson as well. Like those are really the 5 guys that are just constantly earning targets. So I do like that as well, Gladys, to be honest. McBride should probably catch quite a lot. Even with Marvin Harrison Jr. there, like McBride's target shares remain super consistent and solid.
I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has like one of the lowest catch rates in the NFL right now. I mean, he's good, and it might be Kyler Murray, but he's not.
And I mean, they're not easing him into the role. Like he's running downfield routes. Okay, we're giving you the tough assignments against top corners, right? So like, you know, the big play nature is okay. If he catches it, it's a big play, but it's also tougher to catch those.
Yeah,
And yeah, you're right. It could be Kyler too.
It could be Kyler.
Well, and you seem to not like. I mean, already I think Gladys has already revealed which way she's leaning on the spread here. You seem to have way more faith in Justin Herbert than you do in Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah.
And that's why you're taking.
Even if he was hurt, I would have more faith in Kyler Murray.
Feels like Herbert's always hurt the last couple.
Yeah, it's steady. Kyler is just again way too for me.
Yeah, so Gladys is going Chargers. Dan and I are actually both taking the Cardinals.
Really?
I really didn't. Yeah. I really didn't have a strong conviction one way or the other. I guess maybe I do have more faith in Kyler. That can keep this close. This defense has been operating well, and until last week against the Packers, they were like one of the least penalized teams in the league, and that all changed in an instant. But we've also seen them play like really disciplined, and I think that can help lead to something just underwhelming about the Chargers. Like, okay, they're doing all these things, like they're not really blowing teams out. I know it's part of the nature of they're just trying to run the ball a lot, but it also feels like Herbert has been limited, not by his own abilities, but by just the offense in general, not having strong receivers. Definitely love the Cardinals' weapons around Kyler a lot more than what the Chargers have surrounded Herbert with this year.
Yeah, it's true too.
O-line, say that the Chargers O-line is in theory better, but their guys are hurt, so I don't know how much better and stronger that protection is going to be. So I wonder if Kyler's rushing actually does make the difference in this game. So I'm going Cardinals there. I think I also didn't want to just pick the same as Gladys, go Ravens and Chargers. So differentiate. I took one of Gladys's picks with Baltimore. I took one of Dan's picks with Arizona. So I'm balanced. I'm not picking favorites.
Game theory. I'm going game theory with my picks.
I didn't know. Yeah, because I almost did consider the Buccaneers and go Bucks Chargers, but I don't know that Ravens goal line guide, that passing grade, that was just so strong. I just had to pick the Ravens this week as a just to stamp that goal line grade.
That is a good. That I really like that goal line. You do a very good job with that.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, I guess high or lower on this game. Oh no, we already talked about those, right? I'm going lower, but everyone else is picking higher. Actually, Jamie, did we get your thoughts on that for this?
For the higher or lower, I think it's going to be lower. I took the alternate bet at 37.5 over. I don't think it's going to go over that 44 like it is.
Okay. Yeah, I think that too.
And I'm taking Cardinals money line.
Line up as underdogs. Interesting.
You're taking Cardinals money line?
Yeah, I mean they're playing at home. I don't think the Chargers are that great to be able to.
I don't think they're that great. I don't think the Cardinals are that great either.
Yeah, exactly. So why not go with the home team at the plus odds? So I'm only going off the plus odds. Like if they're playing at LA, I would probably go with the Chargers. But since
the Chargers' home games are basically road games anyway. All the other
true. Really, just whoever the plus is, that's who I'm going to go with in this game. Because I don't have a conviction on either one of them. I just want the higher odds.
Both teams suck. Take the underdog.
Did you go higher or lower on the total?
Well, like I said, I went. I didn't take the under or higher.
If you had to pick at 44.5, you'd take the lower.
Yeah, we'll take the lower, but I took the over on 37.5 for an alternate.
Jamie likes it with the.
I love my alternates.
Yeah, you do.
Apparently you love your alternates, and Jay loves everything you're saying, Jamie.
Oh, thanks.
Look good.
I just made a new friend.
J&J.
Do you want to have a sleepover? No.
Opposite ends of the country. One of you is in Central Time. The other one's in
Pacific. Jay's in Cali.
So, like Gladys, like neither of those time zones matter. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, but what does matter is our prop picks for tonight. So it's funny that with the doubleheader, there's so much doubling up. For instance, Gladys, you went double favorites. You picked both favorite teams. You picked the Ravens and the Chargers. Dan went double dogs, taking the Buccaneers and the Cardinals. I went double lower. I took the lower on both game totals, 49.5, 44.5. I took the lower on both. I also doubled quarterback rushing. Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray higher on both their rushing yards. And we got double touchdowns. Gladys taking Lamar Jackson anytime touchdown, rushing, receiving. Dan doing the same for J.K. Dobbins. So a lot of doubling in this game here.
Jamie, you and your alternates are really alternate total. What did you pick for your alternate total? 37?
37.5.
Higher?
Yeah.
And then he'll do something like go 61.5 lower.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you pick both bets, they both hit, you're good.
I mean, it just adds a few cents to every dollar I put on.
I mean, I think it's awesome. I'm not disparaging you, sort of.
So I did a parlay with taking the Tampa Bay Bucks as underdogs and the Cardinals as underdogs because why not? They both could win.
It sounds like Jay's doing the same thing, right? Like home underdog on a money line and something that, especially when the game's like it's a 1.5 point spread. And it's like, I think at some points this week, the Cardinals were favored. So it really almost feels like it's a pick 'em as well.
Well, even this morning I checked and the Cardinals went down. It was like a tie. They're both at negative for the odds. And I was like, I put this bet in last night when it was at plus odds and now it's back up to the plus. So yeah, Cardinals was at plus 100. Bucks were at 154. I parlayed them both to win plus 400. So I put $2 to win 10.
The home underdog parlays.
Yeah.
Nice. Again, Dan is making that kind of choice. So Dan's going with the Buccaneers, 3.5-point underdogs, while Gladys and I are both taking Ravens, 3.5-point favorites.
One thing I didn't bring up, James Conner, I believe his over is at 60.5
rushing yards.
Yeah,
9 yards. Okay.
I know that team's like third against the rush, but I could see him running a lot more this game. So I do like the over. I think James Conner could hit 75, 80 yards. So I'm taking the over on 60.5 for James Conner. As long as he doesn't fumble.
I was thinking, he fumbled last game, got benched. That was not like him just like losing the ball. That was a very good punch out by the rookie Evan Williams. Mm-hmm. So like that was a very earned forced fumble. Like it really was a forced fumble. So like it's not like Connor has loose hands. He still can't let the rookie punch it out on you though.
I can see him getting like 17, 18 carries for that like 65, 70 yards easy.
Hey, Jay, are you a Dodgers fan? Is Jay a Dodgers fan? Because I mean, aren't they in the World Series?
Indians almost made it.
Dude, I was at a bar watching that game. The guy on this side of me was a Yankees fan. The guy on this side of me was the Indians fan. And when Soto hit that, because that was like the smoothest home run I've ever seen. Like I didn't think it was going over the fence. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was a smooth home run. Oh hell yes. Way to go, Jay. Way to go, Jay. I'm going to be for the Dodgers in the World Series, Jay. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I'll root for the Dodgers too, even though I don't watch baseball.
Can it be a tie? I don't want to see either of these teams win a World Series.
I
don't even care about baseball. I hate both of these teams. So
I do like Daffy Duck, and wasn't his superhero Duck Dodgers?
See, I was more of a Mighty Ducks fan with Goldwing Flashblade, I think his name is. Right. The captain of the Mighty Ducks. Anyway,
I have no idea.
Animated series, not the weird movies.
The cartoon, that was awesome, man.
That was so much better than like the Mighty Ducks like live action movies, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, because it's a storyline. It's a whole storyline.
I've heard people talking, greatest sports movie. Like, that's like the greatest movie ever. Like, what? It's not even the greatest. It's not even close to the greatest hockey movie ever. So, anyway, back to our Monday night doubleheader. So, again, Gladys and I both going the Ravens as road favorites, 3.5 points. Dan's taking the home underdogs when the Buccaneers in that game. He's also taking that game higher. And I think that's Gladys and I going the Ravens is okay. They're going to keep it lower scoring, so we're both taking the lower. Dan taking the Bucks, thinking it will be closer, high scoring shootout game, which is why Dan's also going the rivals. Lamar Jackson, plus 28 passing yards versus Baker Mayfield. So we'll see. You just get the extra 28 yards as a buffer there. All of us going Lamar Jackson props. Gladys going Lamar Jackson higher than half of a rushing or receiving touchdown. I'm taking Lamar Jackson higher than 52.5 rushing yards.
Derrick Henry's going to throw like a 5-yard fade to Lamar Jackson in the corner.
Yes.
It counts for you. It'll count.
Exactly.
So exactly. Looking at the second game, Gladys is taking the Chargers as 1.5-point favorites. And I think all the rest of us are going the Cardinals as the 1.5-point underdogs. Dan, myself, and Jamie's mentioned that, even Jay in the chat. So everyone's against you, Gladys. So if the Chargers do pull this off and win by 2 or more, you can come back and rub it in our faces all next week.
Dude, even if they don't, I come back and rub it in your face.
Yeah, fair enough. You're taking the game higher. Dan's taking the game higher. I'm going lower than the 44.5. Jamie, just to refresh, is there any last, I guess, it's 8:15 now, so like that first game Ravens is locked. But
so for the next game, one thing I saw that was underrated was Will Disley.
Yeah.
The dude. The only reason I know this is because he's my tight end in my 32-team league. Last week he got 5 targets, 4 receptions, 28 yards.
You're in a league with 32 teams?
Yeah, I got a couple of those. They're awesome. It's the best way to do it. So yeah, I am starting tight ends like Will Disley, and he got me 10 fantasy points last week. He had a bye. Then before that, he had 6 fantasy points, 7 fantasy points, 8 fantasy points. So he's seeing those targets. Like
he's consistently gotten more targets than Hayden Hurst.
At least
even when
3.
Hurst is
at least
healthy.
3
But
games.
now that Hurst is injured, it's Quentin Johnston's
Hurst is injured. So he went from like 38 to 50% of snaps to seeing that 65 to 70%, whatever he's at now. So with that, I could see him getting 4 or 5 targets. Give him 3-4 receptions on that. He's going to hit 20 plus yards. So if you can get like a Will Disley plus 20 yards, I would take it.
Supposedly Tua's going to practice this week, by the way.
I did see that.
Oh, yay. So Mike McDaniel will once again be one of the greatest offensive minds in the
Oh,
league.
one thing we did not mention on the show was Desmond Ridder is now an Oakland Raider. He got signed from the Cardinals practice squad.
Dude, I was so onto Antonio Pierce taking over that job, and now he's making me very sad because that field goal try when they were like,
I agree. That's twice he's done that this year.
yeah, that is not
That's the right play.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That was
punted up late in the fourth quarter one game as well. So yeah, no, that's I kind of agree with you. Like that seemed.
He makes me sad.
I know they got a penalty on the play and they were pushed back, but it was like
still
you're 9 yards away. I guess based on how this game is going, this is probably the last chance you're going to have scoring in the end zone.
Move Max Crosby. Move Max Crosby. Move Max.
To the Packers, that'd be amazing.
No. To the Lions, that would be amazing. Or to the Steelers.
I was gonna say Steelers. Yeah, Steelers. I'd be okay with it, so he doesn't go to the Lions. Anyone but the Lions, please. Thank you.
God, the Lions. That was a really good game yesterday, though. I mean, Jared Goff.
Sean White got a nice catch and pass.
I freaking set Jared Goff for Kirk Cousins because I thought, he's not really good against pressure, and that fucker was like 9 for 11 or something against pressure. He outscored Kirk Cousins by 30 points. This is ridiculous. I'm dropping.
Goal line guide. Really low passing goal line grade for the Falcons last week. I was ridiculously low on Cousins in the rankings. I had him at QB 24, 23, something like that.
Really?
Just absurdly low on Cousins, and feels like that's kind of where he finished. So I think I'm not going to be that far off.
Maybe lower than that. Although Andy Dalton had 0.02 points or something really weird.
Here's the thing with Cousins. He has 2 games where he's he's been a top 6 QB in those 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Other now I think 5 games he's outside the top 20.
I said him in those 2 games. I'm pretty sure I said him in one of them.
Those 2 games are boosting all his fantasy points. Just in that one I think it was a Thursday.
The one game where he scored 500 yards. He threw
4 and yards. It was the big comeback. And then I think that the week 2 against the Eagles, to screw us up week 2 on our props, because we all took the Eagles that week, we totally would have had it, and then the Eagles just let him drive down the field and score a touchdown at the end, so that they won, and it screwed our Eagles because we had it at 5.5. They were up by 6, and Cousins won them the game last second. I thought we had it too. That would have been awesome. Really messed us up in that early season prop. I think it was week 2.
Hey, who does Cleveland play this week, Jamie? I may have to put Jameis Winston in.
Honestly, I don't even know. Let's see.
I'll pull up in the goal line guide.
I got it.
They play the Ravens.
Okay, never mind.
Gladys, do you really think I pay attention to horrible teams?
When they're yours, yeah.
They're not mine.
His fantasy teams are his.
They just play in the same city as I live in.
Oh my God, Jamie, you're sad.
He's a Cleveland Browns fan. Can you blame him? It's the sadness factory for a reason.
Is Dan coming on next week when the Giants play the Steelers?
No idea. You have to ask Dan that. Maybe we should ask Dan in the group chat.
He hasn't been in the chat, has he?
He posted all his picks in the chat.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I meant the Twitter chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go feed my dog. Dogs, actually. I should feed them both. That would probably be a good thing.
I actually haven't done my rankings yet for this week. So I think I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, you're not gonna watch the game?
Yeah, I'll watch it when the second game's on.
Jamie, what are you going to do?
The game's the better game. Why wouldn't you watch the first game?
Well, it's got I assume this is the Buck Aikman game.
With the first game?
Yeah.
Ugh. See, that's why I watch it with no sound. I watch the games with no sound.
Makes sense.
Because
I'll watch it when the second game's on so I can have 2 football games on at the same time.
has anyone is Tom Brady any good?
Touchdown! Mike Evans, baby.
You know what? I was listening to enough of that Chiefs 49ers game. He's good. He's got
Is he good?
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious.
He's not Romo though. He's not like revolutionizing broadcast.
Is he Greg Olsen?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
He's right now he's not as good as Greg Olsen, but he's probably close to what Greg Olsen was his first
when he started. All right. I
think back, you know what? I remember Greg Olsen being pretty good even as a rookie broadcast because I remember he had a lot of Packers games that year, so I ended up hearing him.
As an announcer, Greg Olsen is awesome.
I thought so.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Tom Brady.
I'm just trying to think back to like now he's especially awesome because he's got the years under his belt. But like I'm trying to think back to his first year doing it.
No, even as a rookie, he did like way better than Tom Brady's doing now.
Did he? Like I haven't heard any of Brady's games.
Because I kind of remember some games where like I remember sometimes Olsen says stuff like, I don't know about that, dude. I kind of remember that as a rookie, but
well, some of the stuff he says, yeah, but like I mean, the way they say it, that's what they're getting paid for. And Tom Brady, I had to watch his first ever broadcast because it was a Browns.
Oh, it was Browns.
And I was like, I don't even want to listen to this dude. This dude needs to be fired.
He was like, I remember listening to a bit of that game, and there was some weird stuff like, there was something he was talking about special teams, and the best way to get vertical is to get vertical and go north south. Like, it was almost like he was just filling up air. Like, okay, what's you talk like? So there's stuff like that where you think you can like football. Doesn't mean you can talk about it well for 3 hours, right? I think that first game really sunk in. I think he's done better since that first game. I think once he got through a whole game and realized what it took, I think that next week he was suddenly just that much more prepared for it. So I don't think he's awful.
Yeah, well.
But he's also, again, like Jay's saying, Tony Romo's the man. And Tony Romo came in and was like immediately amazing and really like changed things. Brady's definitely not that. So.
Yeah,
I mean, again, Troy Aikman's just awful. So I think like he's better than Troy Aikman, but that bar is subterranean. So like that doesn't even matter. So like I can't even complain about Brady because in my mind he's not even the worst in the game right now. So as long as Troy Aikman still is employed doing this and just awfully commentating every freaking game that he ever does, there's always going to be a worse commentator than anyone else.
Is he worse than Chris Collinsworth?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I don't mind Collinsworth. I know sometimes there's some annoying stuff he does. I actually think he's pretty good at the football X's and O's. Like, I think he's one of the better.
I think he's so annoying, actually.
Well, here's the thing. Like right now, Collinsworth is miles ahead of Tom Brady. Like that's not even a debate. But Collins has also been doing this for decades now.
You're miles ahead of Tom Brady.
Oh yeah.
Same days. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Traded him for Tom Brady. Yeah. Huh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Feels like I don't know if it was Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. It seems like definitely some quarterbacks orchestrating that.
So did you see the hologram that they put in on the ESPN broadcast or whatever it was of Tom Brady? That's going to be the future. All they have to do is type in what they want him to say, and it's going to come out the hologram as Tom Brady's voice. So you don't need Tom Brady.
What's the thing? That's the dangerous use of AI where you're like you're stealing people's identity and stuff like that. That's the stuff I'm not cool with.
Yeah, no.
Stop doing that shit at ESPN. Like that's we don't need you bowing down to the robot overlords that easily.
I mean, 10, 15 years ago, the first hologram we saw was Tupac on stage. And
do you think Tupac wants that?
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the most amazing things I've seen in years when it happened, when I saw it live. And
I think Tupac's mom felt
said.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. And his mom has that's ridiculous.
You know what's probably more amazing? The people who saw Tupac live was probably way better than this stupid hologram. Which again, like, and I get that, JV, like you don't get that experience, right? Like you've never got to see Tupac live. So this was the only chance you had at it, but sometimes it's okay to miss out.
Tupac live?
When he comes back in the next few years, I'll go to
I mean, Jay said it. Like all the Hollywood movie creators and writers, like they all know it's coming. They keep warning us, but we keep just
Well, they
But
already
then he also
wear
creates
masks,
new,
masks.
better advanced technology for these movies to make them look good. So at a certain point, it's also just self-serving.
All right. I'm out.
Yeah, we're talking about robot apocalypse. It's probably time to sign out, or we're going to be forced to sign out anyway by the robot.
Robot apocalypse.
This episode is going to get flagged.
I mean, we're an hour 20 in. I think this isn't. If we started the episode, maybe I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I was rambling on about some other nonsense that won't get flagged at the start, I'm sure.
There you go.
Yes, thank you for joining us again, Jamie. It's great. Thanks, Jay, for joining us in the chat. Great to hear from you.
Yeah, Jay, I need more dog pictures.
Albert was here for a bit. Some dude named Jamie Pirogue was in the chat.
Yeah, I heard that.
That guy. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Gladys. Hello.
Hey, hi.
But also, I guess, bye, Gladys. I'll see you next week. Steelers Giants.
Yeah, baby. Thanks,
rivalry.
Albert. Thanks, Albert, for joining us too.
Yeah, for sure, Albert. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, Satan is telling me that she either wants to go out or she wants to eat. I don't know what she wants.
She wants to eat outside. Do both.
No, she does not want to eat outside.
Well, okay. Whether it's taking Missy out, having her eat, or regardless of what happened, we're signing out. So goodbye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you all next week.